In Chapter 2, Charles Mills writes the article Black Trash, which talks about the color black and what it symbolizes. Black was seen as being impure, dirty, evil, and sinister. This color was dangerous, according to people in the 16th century. Those who were black were not considered morally valuable people in society. On the other hand, there was also the color white. Whiteness was a symbol of purity, virtue, and beauty. It was seen as clean and pure, unlike black, which was dirty and evil. The thoughts and identities behind these two colors became the foundation for racism. This foundation is still a problem today when we look at Chapter 3, Is Racial Profiling Just? By Jeffrey Ryman. According to Ryman, racial profiling is a matter of looking at a person and accusing them based on their race. When racial profiling exists in societies marked by racism, it can become a problem. Blacks are accused and blamed for crimes much easier than whites. Having the predisposition, as Charles Mills would say, of being dangerous and evil and sinister, allows for blacks today to be seen as guilty, dangerous, and unfortunately are accused of crimes. Going back to what Mills says, however, whites are considered honest and pure. When talking about racial profiling, whites are seen as having good intentions and are honest people. They are assumed to be more likely to tell the truth rather than blacks who are blamed majority of the times. If we look at Chapter 4, Black Invisibility, we can see the same thought trend occurring. In this chapter, Lewis Gordon talks about the dimensions of anti-black racism. He states that there is an effort to weed out the pollution of blackness from the purity of whiteness. Anyone with a drop of black blood is seen as impure. Gordon talks about three dimensions our body has in the world: the dimension of seeing, the dimension of being seen, and the dimension of consciousness that we are being seen by others. However, sadism and masochism attempts us to deny the coextensivity of these three dimensions. The dimension of anti-black's perception of blackness is phobogenic, or the black body does not live on a symbolic level in the anti-black world. Therefore, black does not symbolize crime, but it is crime. In Chapter 9, Papadaki defines the idea of objectification. She looks at Kant, McKinnon, and Dworkin, and Nussbaum's definitions of objectification to come up with a single understandable one. Kant defines objectivity as treating a person as an object, in the sense of a mere instrument for someone else's purposes, and consequently reducing this individual to the status of a mere instrument. McKinnon and Dworkin have a similar definition of objectification. However, they believe that women can only be the victims of objectification. They state that objectification occurs when a human being is being made less than human, turned into a thing or commodity. Papadaki agrees with aspects of these ideas. However, she feels that it is too narrow of a definition. She then looks at Nussbaum's definition of objectification, which explains how a person is being treated like an object. However, it explains 7 notions that they are involved. They are instrumentality, which the objectifier treats the object as a tool for his or her purposes; denial of autonomy, where the objectifier treats the object as lacking in autonomy and self-determination; inertness, where the objectifier treats the object as lacking in agency; fungibility, where the objectifier treats the object as interchangeable; violability, where the objectifier treats the object as lacking in integrity; ownership, where the objectifier treats the object as something that can be owned by another; and denial of subjectivity, where the objectifier treats the object as something whose experiences and feelings are not taken into account. Nussbaum also states that objectification does not always have to be negative, but it can be positive as well. Objectification can be positive when it has a neutral or positive effect on the objectified person's humanity. Papadaki, however, feels that including this positive aspect of objectification allows Nussbaum's definition to become too broad. She then combines the two to come up with her own definition. According to Papadaki, objectification is seeing a person as an object that denies the person's humanity. Seeing them as an instrument, inert, fungible, violable, owned, denied autonomy, and denied subjectivity are all ways objectification can take place. Papadaki also states that a person's humanity is denied when it is ignored, not properly acknowledged, or when it is in harm. Although this chapter talks mainly about women when speaking of objectification, this topic can relate to previous chapters. If we look at blacks as we look at women in this sense, the two seem to correspond. In many cases, blacks are treated as an object and are denied humanity. They can be invisible or made for use rather than seen as an equal person in society.